right, back to football. The much-anticipated second start for Shedeur Sanders didn't go as planned. Some good, like this touchdown toss on your screen to Harold Fannin Jr. Some bad, like getting swallowed up by the Niners defense a few times. The rookie quarterback finishing the day 16 of 25 for 149 and a touchdown. So Cleveland now with a 7th straight game under 300 yards and their 2nd straight 3-9 start. So not a whole lot of good in Shedeur Sanders' second start there. Rand, I'll give you first word there. What's your assessment of what Shedeur was able to do today? And to take it a step further, what do you think Kevin Stefanski does at quarterback for the rest of the season?
I think first and foremost, to answer the second question, I think he starts next week. I think we're going to see him probably start the rest of the way because I think that would split it 6-6 with both guys, him and Dylan Gabriel having 6 starts, and then we'll see how they evaluate those two, right? Just in terms of putting them against each other versus next year's draft class and who gives us the best chance to win moving forward. I think today, the defense that they played today in the San Francisco 49ers, who are lacking a pass rush, so to speak, and don't run a lot of different concepts in terms of trying to confuse you like you saw against the Raiders last week in Patrick Graham's offense. This would have been the best chance for him to build a rhythm, be able to hit more completions, take the underneath stuff, and allow his guys to make plays. But again, I thought it was solid. Right, I thought it was solid. It wasn't really anything to hang your hat on one way or the other. But again, too, you look at some of it where he's patting the ball. You saw a couple times today where he drifted in the pocket. We really didn't see that against the Raiders as much. He just has to learn how to play on time. And if there's nothing there, throw the ball out of bounds at the feet of the receiver and live to see another down. Now, I know some of it, the improvisation part sometimes is good, but you don't want to live in that lane in terms of just looking to improvise at all times.
Kevin Stefanski did say that he'll get the start against the Titans next week, so at least it gives you one more week to evaluate. But, Pete, what do you think of Shedeur?
It was average at best. He should start. They need to find out what he is. I mean, look, what I would do if I were the Browns, I'd spend a lot of time watching Fernando Mendoza this next month and a half. I'd spend a lot of time watching Moore if he comes out from Oregon. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. Their quarterback is not on their roster, period. They have 2 first-round picks. They're going to get a quarterback next year. But you have to at least give a look at Shedeur Sanders the rest of the way because you've already decided what you have in Dylan Gabriel, and he's not the answer. This guy's going to prove that he's also not the long-term answer. Go into the draft to get yourself a quarterback.
You know what the Browns need to do? They need to run Dylan Sampson more. Like, I'm not going to sit here and harbor on the Shedeur talk. They need to use Dylan Sampson. They got a really good young running back tandem in him and Quinshon Judkins. I love that Quinshon has earned the RB1 role. He deservingly has that spot. But Dylan Sampson could be the Travion Henderson to Quinshon Judkins that he had at Ohio State. Use a little bit of thunder and lightning. Mix it up. Sampson is he's the quicker, more explosive back that can hit his head on the goalpost. We talked about this earlier. Judkins is good from 40 to 40, 30 to 30, in the meat of the field. Use both of those guys, and again, what does that do? That takes pressure off of your quarterback, whoever it is. Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Use this young running back room that's probably one of the better young running back rooms in all of the NFL. Use them to take some of that pressure off of the quarterback.
For me, I just want to pose a question to the group because we talk about this quarterback class coming into it, and I don't know how much you've been able to see of the quarterback class from this year. And we were saying it's going to be a deep class. But I don't feel as confident about it being deep because I don't think everybody's coming out as we originally anticipated. So if you're Cleveland and if the Titans are sitting there at the #1 pick, and you do have draft capital to move up, how much are you willing to give up to go get Fernando Mendoza? Because we're looking at a situation where it could be Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore comes back and Ty Sampson comes back. And all the guys that you would covet in there with Mendoza do indeed come back. So how much would you be willing to go up and get Fernando Mendoza?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, are you giving up both those first-round picks depending on where they're at to go get them? I mean, Jacksonville's pick is kind of moving back toward the back where they thought it might be a higher pick when the season started. So would you give up two ones to go get Fernando Mendoza? I don't know if I would either.
Personally, I would not.
I don't think I would either.
I wouldn't. I mean, I think Fernando Mendoza is a phenomenal quarterback, but assessing, diving into the college football world, he's played great this year. I haven't seen enough of him. I haven't seen enough to make me think as an NFL GM that I would spend 2 first-round picks to move up to go get this guy. Great quarterback. He's probably going to win the Heisman, depending on how he fares in the Big Ten championship. But there's not really a quarterback in college football right now that I would spend high draft capital on.
Well, you got to do something if you're the Browns. If you play the rest of the way.
Is there a veteran name?
If you play the rest of the way and Shedeur Sanders plays like he's played so far, he's not your long-term answer. And Gabriel's proved that he's not. You got to do something.
Well, yeah, but look at there's a good handful of quarterbacks that have made their careers in the second half. You know, we've seen it from Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield is another example. Like, we've seen guys, there might just be a veteran guy that comes off of playing well as a backup. Mac Jones is a name that comes to mind. He's played really good backup quarterback for San Francisco. If you want to go get someone, go get Mac Jones.
You guys were trying to keep your face serious. Just like 2 seconds.
Come on.
Okay, well, people said the same thing about Sam Darnold. They said the same thing about Daniel Jones. They said, come on.
And Daniel Jones has lost 3 of 4, and we still don't know about him. And Sam Darnold, we'll see when.
Is he playing better now than he was before?
Than he was, yeah.
All right, that's all I'm saying.
But he also led the Giants to the playoffs a couple years ago, too.
Yes. I do want to quickly pivot the conversation to the winners of this game, and that is the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco Fighting Christian McCaffreys, because that's literally all they do. And last week when I was watching the 49ers play, it's all they did, right? They dumped it off to him. They handed it off to him, wherever it was. And it was like, oh, my gosh, like, this guy, he's had so many injuries. Is this working? So I asked my 2 resident running backs, when you look at the game plan, and Damien, I'll come to you first, when you look at the game plan for the 49ers, how they've been winning games, it's been working. Christian McCaffrey has been healthy to this point. I just wonder, like, what if, right? So how do you feel about the 49ers? The
question is it sustainable with Christian McCaffrey? Because we've seen him deal with injuries. We've seen the calves, we've seen the Achilles, we've seen the injury lineup build up for Christian McCaffrey over his career, and he's getting a lot of touches right now. Like, I literally wrote in my notes, death, taxes, Christian McCaffrey over 20 touches a game. Like, that is the San Francisco offensive game plan. It's working as long as you got your guy healthy. But as the season goes on, the schedule's going to get tougher. The competition's going to get stiffer. No, the weather, it's colder outside. People get hurt when it's cold outside. The injuries, they start to hurt a little bit more. So can they keep him healthy? Has he figured out how to keep himself healthy? That's going to be the ultimate answer to how far the San Francisco 49ers go.
To me, I think in this season it's sustainable.
Okay.
Right? Because I think they've done a good job of not only using him, but having things built off of those formations, those motions, when they have him in the backfield, and then they motion him deep in the backfield, but kind of in the slot to determine what the coverage is going to be. And if he has the one-on-one, then they get the ball to him, and if not, they look and pivot to Kittle. So I think right now in this season, yes, it's sustainable, and I think this is the way they're going to have to win football games, because he is the bell cow. I think you mentioned it, Damien. He might lead the league in receptions. He might lead the league in carries, like just total touches, yards from scrimmage. That's the way they're going to have to win football games right now, because, again, the offense flows through him. It flows through George Kittle, because they don't have that one dynamic weapon at the receiver position that can go out and win one-on-ones right now. They're being schemed open off of the things that we see out of Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, he averaged 2.7 per rush today. It wasn't like he lit it up.
There it is.
Well, it's not
there
like he lit it up.
We get it.
But, you talk about all those carries this year, and eventually this year they're going to start wearing on him a little bit too. I mean, that's a lot of touches for a little guy. He's not a big guy.
Well, here's the thing I'll say. Being at training camp this year and walking in, and the first thing I noticed when I saw him, I was like, he looks much bigger this year. He looked much bigger, and I don't know what his weight is or was at the time. But when I saw him this summer at training camp practice, I was like, this is the biggest I've ever seen him. If I had to guess, Damien, I would have put him in that 215 to 220 range, somewhere in there. And I don't know what his usual weight is, or I can't remember from my time being there with him, but he looked much bigger, probably with the mindset that he was going to have to touch the ball.
But with that added weight, would you be concerned at all that would start to affect like the soft tissue injury? Because then once you start carrying a lot of weight, more than what your body is used to carrying, those hamstrings start to go, the groins, the calves, the knees, the joints, like that. I'm concerned, because to Pete's point, it's just a lot of touches, man. It's a hell of a lot of touches.
By the way, if you would have said before this game that the McCaffrey would rush 2.7 per game, Purdy would throw for 168 and 1, that they won the game, you would say, nah, not really. It goes back to that head coach. Every week we say the same thing. We're sitting in that green room, we say the same. That guy has this team in the playoffs right now. Kyle Shanahan has done a masterful job with this team considering all the injuries they had to navigate. It's amazing, not including the quarterback. He played those games with Mac Jones and won those games. So bottom line is Kyle Shanahan doesn't get the appreciation right now for the great job he's doing as a coach.
To me, Haley, and to offer what Pete is saying, when we're looking for head coaches, right? We talked about in the headlines all these college coaches that are getting these jobs. They're going to be NFL jobs that are going to come open. We copycat too much, looking for the next offensive guru or the next defensive guru. Kyle Shanahan, yes, he is an offensive guru, but what he does best is he's a leader. And he can stand in front of that room when there's no chance in the world that you have to win the football game, and he can create buy-in and get guys to believe in his message. And I think, Pete, what you're saying is you see that every week, no matter who's in the lineup for him, no matter who's starting at quarterback or just a plethora of guys they've had roll through that defense, based off of Kyle Shanahan standing up in front of that room on Wednesdays, he has those guys believing that they can compete and win a game every week.
Like I could run through a brick wall now after that. Real quick before we close the book, Pete, something that you mentioned, and you mentioned it earlier when we talked about Brock Purdy and the performance that he had, and I wrote down your quote because I asked, I said, is this his first game back? And you said he played like it was his first game back. Is there any concern with Brock and the numbers? And I know that he's still working his way back from injury, but when you see what he did today, and to your point, they somehow found a way to win, what do you think going forward?
Well, I don't think it was awful today. It just wasn't great. I mean, and he at some moment he's going to have to be better than what he was today. And it's there. I think he's still a little rusty coming off that injury. I really, like the other day, he looked like he wasn't stepping into the balls, and it just didn't look right. It looked like his passes were sailing, and I just don't think he looked comfortable. And today, that was a really good defense. I mean, we forget sometimes how good that defense is. And Myles Garrett was held to 1 sack. That's an accomplishment for any team that plays that guy.
Myles Garrett with his 19th sack of the season. That is the most ever through 12 games. So he is a man on a mission. I don't know what you guys are laughing at, but we're going to keep it pushing here.
They're children. That's what they're watching.
Ever since the Panthers put us in their hype video, all they've done is win. Are we the good luck charm in Carolina? We'll have to find out after the break.